Well, good morning again. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Are you all ready? You've had time to prepare. I even helped you. I told you that if every day you got up and thought about Christmas, and when you picked the clothes out of your closet, if you picked the right clothes, it would prepare you for Christmas. Did I not? And I said, every Sunday, make sure you're wearing the right clothes. Are we wearing the right clothes? Let's see those Christmas socks. Where are they? There's some. You got to get a pair like this. I have another pair that's just like it. It's just switched. And that way you've got your Christmas socks. And you're ready for Christmas. We want to be ready because, you know, there's things that happen at Christmas that we tend to expect, right? We know what's going to happen. And maybe even now you've spent a couple of days putting in the suggestion box. Do any of you do that? You drop the little hint here or there. You know, what might be good to see under the Christmas tree. Right? You know, maybe you're not writing down letters, but you know, you're kind of giving in that hint. There was a woman, a wife, who woke up about a week before Christmas, and she said to her husband, I had a dream. I had a dream that you gave me a beautiful gold necklace. What do you think that means? And so the husband said, I don't know. Christmas is next week. Maybe we'll find out what that dream means. A couple days later, the wife wakes up again. She said, I had another dream. I dreamed that you gave me a beautiful pearl necklace. What do you think that means? And so the husband had a smile on his face and he said, I don't know. Christmas is just a couple of days away. Let's see what that means. And then the morning of Christmas Eve, the wife wakes up again and said, I had another dream. I had a dream you gave me this beautiful diamond necklace. And the husband put a smile on his face and he said, well, you know, tomorrow's Christmas, you know, maybe then you'll know what that means. Now off to work he went, and when he came home from work, he had a great big beautiful package with a big yellow bow on it. He hands it to his wife, and you know, she's so excited, you know, now it's Christmas. She can't wait, so she didn't wait till the next morning. She rips open the package and she pulls out a book. And the book says, How to Interpret Your Dream. Be careful what you're expecting on Tuesday morning. I have another question for you. Any of you have a cell phone with you? Okay. Show hands. It's okay. I know you've turned them all off. Okay. Do you have your notifications turned on? You know, so you get the score, so that you get the latest New Version Bible app posted to you. If you get a text, it buzzes in your pocket, or Facebook, if something posts something on Facebook that you need to know right away because it could affect your health, you know, your pocket starts to shake because you need those notifications. You need to know right away what's happening in and around the world. You know, all the way back in 1876, I believe it was, Alexander Graham Bell received the first patent for the first operating telephone. And ever since then, our communication has gone crazy. Absolutely crazy. There isn't anybody anywhere in the world, and even beyond nowadays, at any time given, it doesn't matter when, that you can reach someone or that you can receive news. And we tend to think this is a great thing for us. But there's a downside for that. We are so overloaded with messages and text and news and updates and statuses, and it just keeps barraging us that we become completely overloaded in a world filled with communication. You know, it used to be in the day when you lived far away from someone, you would actually put a pen or a pencil to a piece of paper and you would write them a letter. You would then put that letter in an envelope and you would send it off, and then your friend would wait days or weeks to receive the envelope and then open it and read it. Then we quickly advanced to the email system where we would type it out and then we would press send. And then we would wait for the recipient to open their email and to read it and respond. Nowadays, I see people sending texts and instant messages, and they'll no sooner send them on their phone, and then they'll stare at their phone. Like, you know, you're staring at the front of the microwave when you're screaming, hurry up! And they're staring at their phone waiting for an instant message to come back. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of the old days when we used to be in the same room, staring at each other face to face, talking to one another, looking for an instant response. It's not about the quality of our communication. It's about the quantity. We've gotten so much. We know stuff that we never knew before, probably stuff we never would have ever known in our entire lives. It probably never even mattered to us. But now we are completely overloaded with so much information. Do you know what the challenge now is about communication? What do we do to be heard? What do we do to be heard above the noise of all of the things that we get that come into our lives every day? How do we communicate more effectively? You know, teachers are having this problem. Educators are having this problem. How do we get the message of education across and be heard amongst all the noise that our kids are hearing? Emergency alert systems are having the same problem. What can they do on your phone to stand out from all the other buzzing and ringing and chirping and everything else that your phone does so that we know we're getting an important message? You know advertisers are doing it, right? You all get those calls all afternoon from telemarketers on your landlines and calls you don't even know where they're coming from. And you know what else? Pastors have the same problem. How do we communicate in the church the very important message of love and grace and forgiveness of Jesus Christ? How do we do that above all the stuff and all the noise and all the communications that you're receiving? You know, back in the days of the early Bible, when God had a very important message to deliver to people, He sent an angel. He sent an angel down to earth to give a very, very important message to a very specific recipient. Now, I know today, most of us, when we hear about angels, we think of, angels in white robes and big wings, and they're floating above the sky, and they're beautiful, and there's music playing, and they're all very, very lovely to look at. But in our minds, we're also knowing that it's fictitious. It's imaginary. It's not real. But in the days before Jesus walked on the earth, if you had told someone that an angel had come to you and given you a message, that would have been the most important message of your life. People would have crowded around you and said, I want to hear the message. You had an angel. I wish I had it was widely accepted, widely encouraged, and actually celebrated. Because they knew that angels are the messengers of God Himself. And that God had a message just for you. And so having an angel come in and do that was extraordinary. Because we all know that angels have a very specific message for a very specific person or group of people. And it had to be heard, it had to be taken very seriously. That's why God would never send a text message or reply upon us to write a letter or an email. God knew that these were so important that He sent His very own angels to deliver them. Now, in today's story, we have an angel that delivers a message to Zechariah and his wife, and the angel's name is Gabriel. He's one of the very few angels who's actually named in Scripture. And Gabriel is a very prominent angel. His name is the reason that it's in there is because he does more than just deliver messages to followers of Jesus Christ. He also delivered messages to all of the Jewish nations in the early Testament. So he not only delivered to the religion of Judaism, he also delivered messages in the religion of Christianity. He not only delivers those messages in those world religions, he's also the one who's known for delivering the Quran to Muhammad himself. He's named the angel Gabriel brought the words of the Quran to Muhammad. Not only does Gabriel come in our great, beautiful Christmas story, he also came to the people of Judaism and the people of Islam. Is that not incredible how God can use someone like Gabriel, his angel, to deliver a very important message across 3 world religions? Think about that for just a moment. If God is delivering messages to 3 world religions through the same angel who is named as Gabriel, important messages, what does that mean for us today? What does that mean for us today, and what does that mean for the future of world religion? If God can do that, what is God trying to say to us about the messages that He sends? We are so overloaded. So overloaded. Facebook, flyers, the bulletin that we read, the posts that we send out. We video this sermon and we send it out again. We send you emails and updates. You get notifications all day long. It just becomes noise. Noise. And it's so difficult for us to just pause and to listen. And to listen to something that is most unexpected. A message from an angel. Now the angel's name again is Gabriel. Gabriel speaks several times in our Advent stories. Gabriel says to Zechariah, "Do not fear. Do not fear, Zechariah, your prayer has been heard. Elizabeth, your wife, will bear a son by you. You are to name him John." And almost identically, Gabriel, the angel, comes to Mary. And do you remember what he says to Mary? He comes to Mary and he says, "Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, Mary. I bring you good news that you have found favor with God." And when the group of heavenly hosts, the group of angels, came to the shepherds who were far off into the field outside of town, what is the very first thing that the angels say to the shepherds? Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. I bring you great news of great joy that will be for all the people. Now I wonder, does the angel's message, which is so important, begin with "do not be afraid" because the people were afraid of angels? We already know that the people widely expected angels. They widely accepted angels. They even revered the message from an angel. Or could it be that when the angel brings the most important message you're ever going to hear in your life, first, Gabriel knows that we are not at peace? Maybe Gabriel already knows that our lives are filled with fear. Maybe Gabriel already knows that we are overburdened, overcommunicated, overstressed, overworked, overthought, overworried. And the very first thing that Gabriel has to do when he comes to Zechariah and Mary and to the shepherds and to the wise men and everyone else who receives a message is first to bring them to a place of peace. Do not be afraid. It's as if the angel is saying, we need to pause. We need to take a deep breath. We need to calm our hearts and relieve our worries. And now listen. Listen. Because God has a message just for you. And He opens them up. And He says, do not be afraid. You know, I wonder if that's you today. We are 48 hours from Christmas. And for some of you, you just cringed. You thought shopping, wrapping, visiting, cooking, planning, preparing, running here, running there, getting crazy for Christmas. And when I tell you that the greatest story ever told is about to happen again in 48 hours, we cringe. We cringe in fear. Fear, are we ready? Have we prepared enough? Some of you I know are struggling with all the hustle and bustle that we sing about, but it puts you in a really bad place. Because your to-do list keeps getting longer and longer and longer. For some of you, the emotional drain of of suffering the loss of someone this time of year, or being reminded about the loss of someone at this time of year, has put you into a place where you would rather go back. You'd rather be back in Egypt. You'd rather be back where you knew things the way they were. No matter how good or bad they were, no matter how much stress was there, at least you knew what to be expected. And moving forward is just filled with a lot of unknowns in our lives. It's filled with unexpectations and all the things that cause us stress and discomfort. Some of you are dreading December 26th because you know that's when the bills will show up in the mail. You know that's when all the financial stresses that you've been putting aside, or the financial stresses that you've created just getting ready for the 25th, will now hit. And we become completely distracted by all of this stuff that is bombarding our lives. And we become afraid of what might happen. And when we get to that point, we are simply unable to hear the message of God. We don't want to go back. Even the people in Israel wanted to go back to Egypt because they thought it was better to be oppressed and downtrodden and hungry than to go forward without knowing. But the whole idea of God's message is no, God knows. And that's why He's coming to you. And that's why the angel says to you, do not be afraid. Because the most unexpected message you've ever heard in your entire life is coming to you. Are we listening? Now again, just in case you didn't hear me, Christmas is 48 hours away. And I know we've got all our plans are made, right? Like, you already know the presents that you have already purchased or the ones you're about to purchase. You already know when you're going to wrap if you haven't finished wrapping already. You know what Christmas dinner is going to look like. You've been to the store. You've been preparing for that. You already know who you're visiting when. You're going to be visiting friends and family throughout the week. All of this has already been laid out for you. And you know that it's just a short period of time before you get ready for New Year's and all the celebrations and the parties and all the gatherings. And you also know that on January 2nd, it all goes back to the way it was. The same old routine, the same old schedules, the same old over-communication. But what if things don't go as planned? What if something unexpected happens in your life? What about God? What about God who interrupts our lives? What about God who comes to us in the most unexpected ways? What about God who catches us completely off guard and asks us to do the absolutely most crazy things ever? What if He asked you to give birth? What if He asked you to give up all your riches? What if He asked you to pick up your flock and move somewhere else? What if He asked you to leave all of your belongings and your people and your friends and your family and to move on? Are we ready to trust in His message? The angel then says to Zechariah, I am Gabriel. I am the sentinel of God, sent especially to bring you this good news. Every word that I have been spoken to you will come true in time. God's time. I don't know if you caught that, because sometimes when we read through the stories of Advent, we tend to rush to the end. Because we expect what we expect, and we know how it's going to end, and so we just kind of rush to the final chapter, right? But let's go back. Gabriel says to him, I am the sentinel of God, sent specifically to bring you. You, Zechariah, you, one person, has been called out by God, and I am here to deliver this news directly to you. This is your invitation. This is your invitation. And it will come true. Because God has sent you a message with a promise attached to it that what He says is true. And not only will it happen, not only is it guaranteed to happen, but it will happen in God's time. Not in Zechariah's time. Not in Elizabeth's time, who says, I'm too old to have a child. Not in Mary's time, who says, I'm too young to have a child. Not in Joseph's time, who says, wait, I have to get married. Not in the shepherd's time, who says, no, we have to stay out here and watch the flock outside of the city. Not in the wise men's time, who's yet to come because they have to leave all of their riches and their empires. Not in anyone's time, but in God's time. Gabriel comes and he says, I have a message for you. Are you listening? And are you ready to trust in God for this message? You and I, are invited. And how exciting is that to be invited to a greater story, to an even bigger party? And we're invited to trust in that message. You know why it's so important for us to trust? Is because trust is a foundational block to relationships. All the way back to the Garden of Eden, that's where trust comes from in communicating and in being part of a relationship. The angel says, do not be afraid. Put aside all the stuff that's distracting you. Put aside all of that over-communication and the Facebooks and the posts. Put aside when you think, oh, I can't go to church because I have shopping to do. Put aside when you tell yourself, I can't read the Bible because I have to spend hours reading my emails. Put aside when you say, oh, I have to catch up on my social feeds rather than trying to figure out what feeds your soul. Put aside all the things in the world that distract us from God so that we can hear His message. And then as we continue to listen to the messages of God, we build that trusting relationship with Him. And then we're able to trust in Him. Because the one who created you has a message for you. The message at Christmas is the birth of His Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. Now, the way this looks in the 21st century is quite different. There's a television show that just came out recently. It's called God Befriended Me. I don't know if you've ever seen this show. But the idea behind this show is that there's a gentleman, a young man, who's very intelligent and optimistic about life, but he's an atheist. He does not believe in God. And he has a podcast. And for those of you who don't know what a podcast is, it's like a radio show. It's the same thing. Radio shows are on the radio, podcasts are on the computer. And he gets to talk and just give his own personal opinion about life and what he thinks about all sorts of things from an atheist point of view. One day he receives a friend request on social media, and it comes from a gentleman by the name of God. God sends him a friend request. He immediately thinks it's a joke or it's some kind of a trick, and he keeps putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and the friend requests keep coming and coming and coming until finally he's curious. And so he accepts. And he begins to listen to the messages that are coming. And these messages direct him to people and places in his life that he gets to meet that he never would have done before. He creates relationships with complete strangers and they become friends. He's given the opportunity to release himself from fear and from anger and from all the things that are happening in his life, all by listening to the messages coming from God. Now I know you may not receive an unexpected message from an angel. There may be no one dressed in white and wings floating over your bed tonight as you dream. But I do know that you're going to receive an unexpected message from a friend, from a family member, maybe from a complete stranger this holiday season, maybe somebody who's passing you in the hall, in the mall, or perhaps a store clerk or someone during the checkout line. You're going to receive a message from God. And I know you're going to do that because it's when you ask yourselves this question. How did they know? How did they know I needed that? How did they know I was thinking about that? How did they know I was troubled by that? How did they know that I felt this nudge to do that and I needed an encouraging word? How did they know? Some of you may say that, the loved one who has passed has come to speak to me. And that may be what helps us to accept the message of the angel standing before you. Have we cleared our lives so that we can hear God's message? And are we repeatedly listening to God's message so we can build trust in Him? And then, just like Zechariah and Elizabeth and Mary and Joseph and the shepherds, are we following? Are we following that message? Because the message for each and every one of us is an invitation. It's an invitation to play a part in a much, much bigger story. Zechariah listened to the invitation, and he and his wife gave birth to John. John then, when he was grown, announced the beginning of Jesus' ministry in the world. Who would have thought? Mary, a young girl, and Joseph, completely unwed with lots of responsibilities, answers the call and the message that is found to be part of a greater story, and they raise a little baby boy to be our Savior. Shepherds answered the call, and they come and they leave their flock and they come into town, and not even knowing, they then go out and they spread the good news to everyone who would listen about the birth of our Savior. God's message meant for you is an invitation. It's an invitation to be one of the chapters in the greatest book you've ever read. It's an invitation to be one act in an entire greatest play that you've ever seen. It's your invitation to play a part in a scene of God's greatest movie that was ever produced. It is your invitation to play a part in the greatest, most wonderful thing that has ever happened in this world. What is your goal? I beg of you, don't miss the message. Trust in the invitation. Because you are asked to be part of a great, great story.